Okay, this is about you now. Vulnerability fuels cooperation. So some of it's about the team. This is about you. You, the leader. If you want to create safety, if you want to create a dynamic culture that matches what these books are sharing and what these case studies are about, fuck the book, what the case studies are about, you have to demonstrate weakness. Which can be very difficult to do, specifically if you're an alpha male. I don't talk about weaknesses, they don't show weakness. The data says otherwise now. It used to be show no weakness at any moment and show no crack. The data shows otherwise now. The data shows I believe that person. I believe in that person. That person's like me, therefore I'll go to the end of the earth for that person. That's my leader. That's my leader. Because they are willing to demonstrate weakness and embrace that discomfort. Embrace it. Ooh, not feel it. Embrace it. The difference between having discomfort, feeling it, and embracing it. The language here is so good from Daniel Coyle. You, the leader, not the group, you, the leader. That's what this slide is. You must be willing to demonstrate weakness, embrace discomfort, and then it follows it up with this quote or this thought, which is, vulnerability precedes trust. Trust doesn't beget vulnerability. You want trust? Be vulnerable. Talk about where you failed. Talk about what didn't work. Talk about, this is why my podcast is the complete opposite of every other success podcast out there. What I love so far almost all of them just been friends of mine, but I love it when they're just like, they don't even ask beforehand, they show up. I'm like, you know what the podcast is about, right? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, yeah, you know, Nick, you just talk about success shit. I know, it's you. It's called Forged by Fire. Would you like some, yeah, it's called Forged by Fire, right? Like, let me tell everyone why I'm great. Wrong. We're gonna tell everyone about all your biggest failures, your largest point of failure and your darkest moment of vulnerability. That's what we're gonna talk about. Because that's what people wanna hear now. They wanna hear the failures, right? The shit that didn't work. Oh, and then it backs it up with, by the way, turns out people love to help. That's interesting. That's interesting. Us as human beings, we're wired to help. He called it or dubbed it the vulnerability loop. I'm vulnerable, follow me. I fucking love vulnerability. How can I help? What an interesting just give and take of human beings. A vulnerable leader gains trust of people that want to help that leader. Used out of context or out of purpose, probably better, used out of purpose, this is dangerous. So I think I think that we've always had a bunch of fake ass leaders out there that fake cry and fake this and fake that I think that's always existed. But as this gets more and more like visible and you're like, you can read the case studies on this, like, wait a second, there's a vulnerability loop of, oh, my leader's vulnerable, I align and trust. And I like vulnerability, therefore I help. Interesting. So, may the force be with you. Stay on the light side of the force.